Good afternoon, everyone. Hi, this is Dhawal Ajmera here. And we are just starting up with one of a very good initiative by CREDA MCHI. This is a small video which we
Brother
are
Mandiray,
playing and
Kevin,
details we will be
mobile.
explaining to you later.
As India brings together its collective willpower to fight the dreadful corona pandemic, we can see our health workers working round the clock just so that we can stay safe. Lockdown is the buzzword, and there are these red zones with complete restriction on movement. But what do we do when we need to see a doctor because of a stomach infection? Or when we are down with cough, cold, and fever? Our family doctor cannot come, and the general physicians in the neighborhood have their clinics closed. Bharatiya Jain Sanghatna, in collaboration with Force Motors, have provided the much needed solution to all such worries of every citizen in these trying times. Mobile Dispensary Seva, a mobile van that brings a doctor in your lane at your doorstep. All you need to do is walk across and get your checkup done. This service, which was initiated on the 1st of April in Pune, has been a blessing to thousands of patients across Maharashtra since then. These mobile dispensaries bring doctors extending OPD with general medicine facilities in various localities from morning till evening. The checkups are relieving people of the fear of corona and also helping in the awareness process. The rush in the government hospitals has reduced, and all the suspected patients have also been immediately referred to these hospitals. Well, getting these vans mobile ready is a humongous task in itself. From empaneling the doctors to procurement of PPE kits for them, from ensuring inventory of medicines to fumigating the vans, from motivating the volunteers to mentally preparing the drivers is by no means an easy task. But in spite of these challenges, approximately 50,000 patients have been checked with the help of 67 mobile dispensaries merely within the first 80 days of the launch of the service. Each van services 150 patients per day. This seva has been introduced in Karnataka and Tamil Nadu as well. BJS and Force Motors have now decided to deploy 200 vans and reach a target population of 25,000 patients daily with the support of Lumkad Realty for program management. In these unprecedented times, in order to support the people, the government is taking all the necessary efforts. BJS and Force Motors have taken up the cause of helping the health administration and the citizens through this novel idea. Together, we can fight and win this war against corona.
Thank you, Trupti. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen.
Together, it's collective willpower.
Thank you, Trupti. Good afternoon, sir. Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to this great session by none other than Sri Aditya Thackeray ji. Aditya, as he's fondly known and fondly known by the young and old, and he's someone whom I've seen, getting each and everybody, be it a young, 25-year-old guy or a 15-year-old guy to a 30-year or an 80-year-old man. So he has been very, very meticulous. I mean, the heights which he has achieved over such a short span is something which is really, really commendable. And we really welcome you, sir, today. The entire CREDAI family, which is over here, the entire CREDAI Maharashtra family, especially, which is here, is looking forward to hear from you, looking forward to understand your views, your vision for Maharashtra. Obviously, real estate is all where we belong to, but definitely our thought today is to know your vision and your views for Maharashtra. Just to give everyone a small brief, I'm sure Aditya Thackeray ji does not need any introduction, but he is someone who, which I would like to say, he's a pure Mumbaikar, loves cricket, loves, he has done so many things, initiated the 24/7 mall culture in Mumbai. And so he is someone who's about to make Mumbai change. and I'm sure his vision to Maharashtra change is also a very, very big thing. So we are really looking forward under your guidance to see our Maharashtra grow. Before, sir, you take over, I would like to invite our president of CREDAI, Sri Satish Magarji, to say a few words.
नमस्कार आदित्य, कसे आहात?
नमस्कार, कसे आहात?
एकदम चांगलं आहे अजून तरी. We'd like to welcome you here to speak to all the developers. There are, I think, more than 900 already crossed across Mumbai and Maharashtra, who want to hear from you that post-COVID, how do we plan? How do we go ahead? How is the state going to go? I know that this is not the right time and the right forum to ask for such questions, because everyone is uncertain about what is going to happen tomorrow. But we have to look at the silver lining. I mean, we just cannot sit and gloom over what it is. We are human beings. Human beings are resilient. We fight. We will fight. And we are from that state which has produced fighters all across a very long history. So not taking much of your time, because the youth wants to ask you questions. And unfortunately, category as of now. So welcome to this webinar. And I can just tell you one thing, that we are all there together. We will give all the support what we can give towards building a new state, a new nation. Because I think after 2020, before 2020, we see that is before COVID, and 2021 will be AC after COVID. So with this new benchmark, we have a lot of young developers amongst us. We have young leadership in people like you. So we're just hoping for the best to come, and we are there. That is all I want to say today. Yes, Dharmesh, you can take over now.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. I would request Sri Nayan Bhai Shah, our CREDAI MCHI president, to say a few words.
I need to be unmuted. Yes, right.
Yeah,
okay.
done, sir.
Right. So, Aditya ji, namaskar and good afternoon to you. 1800 members of CREDAI MCHI today most heartily welcome you to this webinar. Aditya ji, the main purpose of today's webinar is through you. We wish to express our solidarity, support, promise and assurance to the government of Maharashtra, to the MCGM and to the people of Maharashtra that we are standing along by side with you to fight COVID-19, and that we all emerge victorious against this invisible enemy. Aditya ji, we would like to give you a short glimpse of the 7 major activities that CREDAI MCHI has undertaken. Recollect. Joseph, can you start the slides, please? Sir, I still recollect that on 7th of March 2020, I had got a call from the Municipal Commissioner Praveen Pardeshi ji. Nayan, in 5 days, 26,000 workers from Middle East are coming back, and I don't know where will I quarantine them, where will I isolate them. I want CREDAI MCHI to ensure that the MCR building is converted into an isolation center within 5 days. Sir, it was ready in 5 days. Very, very hearty to respond to you. 42 patients have already been discharged. As I speak now, all the 250 beds are occupied. All of them are doing well. And I am told with the normal protocol, they too will be discharged. Parallelly, the second activity we took up was publicity, awareness and confidence building. We all wanted to be sure that the people have confidence. People don't get worried with Corona. So there was this campaign under the guidance of WHO, where the main was Corona se Darona. This is how the whole campaign was taken further. And 1200 holdings in MMR, 10,000 posters in buses, trains, and all the digital media campaign. Sir, with this campaign, what actually happened was that each and every person, when the real Corona came up, they didn't get a shock. They were mentally ready to face it. So this is the second activity we took up. The third activity we took up was that 10,000 personal protective equipment kits were distributed to municipal corporation, to Mumbai police, to Thana police, and to the hospitals. Number of hospitals were ready to fight COVID, but because of shortage of PPE kits, they were not able to start work. Fortunately, these 10,000 PPE kits came as a big relief for a number of hospitals to immediately start. The fourth activity we took up was to take care of the 70,000 construction workers which were working in 10,200 projects in MMR. At each of the site, all the construction laborers have been taken care by our members. Of course, of late, the government of Maharashtra has also been assisting, but the basic responsibility has been properly discharged by each and every member of us. Touch wood, as of now, in none of our 10,200 sites has there been a single case of COVID. We pray to God that this record continues and nobody gets it. Fifth major activity was to accommodate the migrant laborers. This was a big challenge, sir. This was a big challenge. And to also create additional isolation facility. So we appeal to all our members whose building were nearing completion, we offered those premises. All our members building which were half finished but good enough to be offered, we offered them for migrant workers. More particularly, sir, I want to name 3 developers. Mayur Bhai of Marathon Group gave in Panvel 1,057 homes for the migrant laborers and isolation. Shri Yomesh Shah of Uptown offered 500 homes at 2 locations in Mumbai. Shri Narendra Bhatti of Raja Builders gave his property at Andheri East for 700 migrant workers. And like that, sir, in each and every locality, there was a team formed. There was a need established, and against the need, we gave that many premises. So this was the 5th activity that we undertook. The 6th activity that we undertook was distribution. Is our distribution of the masks and gloves to the police department. And sir, we have also kept a fund of 1 crore ready, that any time when the corporation or the state government calls upon, we will use this fund to procure the rapid test activity kits. So sir, we at CRIDA MCHI has played a role of a last mile millimeter provider. I will not say, sir, last mile provider, but last millimeter provider. And we have worked as your soldiers on the ground. We have worked like a man Friday to you. And whenever, because we understood that the administration is completely overwhelmed with the different requirements that is coming, and that we need something to immediately be done. Some of the developers who have contributed are Mayfair Housing, Vadva Group, Oberoi Realty, K. Raja Realty, Ajmera Realty, Romel Group, Rustam Ji, Naman Group, Nahar, Anand Mane, Gundecha Group, Uptown, Modi Realty, Nilkant Developers, Rishabh Raj and Veena Developers, and all the 1800 developers in their small manner and all. Aditya Ji, but for the deep depression, the deep recession, but for the serious liquidity issues, but for the financial stress and unviability and cost of doing business we are passing through, we could have done far, far more than this. Today, our cash flows are so dried up, we do not know from where we will pay our salaries. But each of our members have forgotten their pains, fears, anxieties, and have put service to humanity above their own personal issues they are passing through. One more thing, sir, we want to acknowledge is that the MOF department has cleared all the cases in SIA or in the authority. As of now, sir, we are very happy to say that no case is pending. Thanks, this change happened after you took over the environment department. Sir, we welcome the steps taken by Government of Maharashtra to have an August committee of experts consisting of Dr. Mashalkar ji, Dr. Kelkar ji, Mr. Deepak Parekh and Mr. Ajit Ranade to advise Government of Maharashtra on the revival of the economy of the Maharashtra. We at CRIDA MCHI would like to interact with them and put forth our issues before them. Aditya ji, you have rightly said, at this moment, let us fight COVID. And once we are reasonably done, we can look at how to revive the real estate industry. We can wait for that. And we have all the patience and we have all the trust that this will happen. Today, sir, we would like to know three things from you. First is the story behind COVID-19. That what were the challenges? What were the challenges? What is the behind the screen scene that is going through? You know, it is very easy for the press to give brickbats to everybody. कि इसको ये नहीं आता है, उसको वो नहीं आता है. But we know, sir, you have been able to muster lakhs of health workers. How have you been able to muster lakhs of health workers? How have you been able to motivate them? How you have been able to bring this logistics, which is a nightmare? You know, no country in the world has been able to do this, what you have been able to do this, sir. So, sir, we would like to know that what innovative things you do, and in the coming days, how do you see COVID likely to spread? When do you think the curve would flatten? This shall give us a great comfort and a sense of security. The second thing we would like to know from you, sir, that how do we make Mumbai slum free? The biggest sufferers in this whole episode, sir, are the slum dwellers. One just can't imagine the pain that they are passing through. It is absolutely important that we depoliticize slum development and we depoliticize the redevelopment of old and dilapidated buildings, housing societies, lakhs of housing societies in Mumbai MMR. We depoliticize the cluster development in Thana, Kalyan, Ulhasnagar, and how do we bring urbanization a reality in Maharashtra? We would like to know your vision, sir, and we want to assure you, CREDAI Maharashtra, CREDAI National, CREDAI MCHI, all the three of us are there with you to face this big challenge. And if you set a time limit, sir, we will see to it that we will achieve that. So that's the second point, sir. And the third that we want to know from you is your vision for the new Maharashtra. Sir, huge amount of infrastructure connectivity projects are going on. Immediately after your government took over, I remember your press release to say that all the infrastructure connectivity projects will go on. And everybody knows that Maharashtra has been highest affected by COVID. We want that after this is done, within 2 weeks, 4 weeks, 6 weeks, whatever, we should rebound. We should see unheard, unseen growth, and we should beat everybody in the country, like, you know. So we would like to know this vision of yours. And sir, finally, I have a little personal connect with you. Although I have known you or met you only for once, but I feel I have known you from a long time because of two reasons, sir. My elder son's name is also Aditya, and he's 27 years. And secondly, sir, I was in the first batch of the Jamnabai Nursery School. I joined Jamnabai in 1971 when I was in the 8th standard. And when I saw you at the Golden Jubilee celebration at the NSI Dome, I was pleasantly surprised to see you there, sir. And finally, sir, our loving Vice President, young leader Nainesh Shah has a pleasant surprise for you, sir. And I will now request Nainesh to please unveil that pleasant surprise to Aditya Thackeray, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you, President Ji. Good afternoon, Aditya Ji. This is Nainesh Shah, Vice President of MCHI. आदित्य जी, आपके संपर्क में भी है और शांति भाव आपके साथ टच में भी है. तो लास्ट वीक एक आर्टिकल आया था लोकसत्ता में दैट मुंबई केसेस आर ऑन अ राइज. देयर इज अ ह्यूज congestion at the municipal hospitals, and that is where our CREDAI member as well as our senior Shantilal Muthaji and we got in touch. Coincidentally वल्लभ बंसाली जी का भी एक वेबिनार था on the issue of dharma. तो ये सारा we fell in place. आपके साथ शांति भाव की बात चल रही थी. So today after last night discussion with you and today discussion with Commissioner Saab and Additional Municipal Commissioner Kakani Saab, sir, we are very happy to announce that with Bharatiya Jain Sanstha, जो शांतिलाल मुथाजी ने फाउंड किया था 1993 में, लातूर and lot of क्राइसिस वर्क जिसने किया है, उनके साथ क्रेडाई एमसीएचआई जुड़ के मोबाइल डिस्पेंसरी चालू कर रही है. जस्ट लाइक वेंडर्स एट योर डोर स्टेप, ये मोबाइल वैन डॉक्टर के साथ आपके लेन में रहेगी. जैसे हमारे प्रेसिडेंट साहब ने बताया कि द बिगेस्ट सफरर्स आर द स्लम्स इन मुंबई. दे आर द वन ऑफ द पीपल हु आर हाईली इम्पैक्टेड. तो उनको सबसे पहले वहां उनके घर तक पहुंचना है. उनको बताना है कि अगर आपके पेट में दर्द है, अगर आपको सर्दी खांसी, अगर आपको बुखार है, तो वो जरूरी नहीं है कि कोरोना है. आप प्लीज आइए, मोबाइल वैन में टेस्ट कीजिए, फ्री ऑफ चार्ज है. मेडिसिन भी मोबाइल वैन देगी. उसमें से स्क्रीनिंग करके जो लगेगा वो हम गवर्नमेंट को, बीएमसी को फॉरवर्ड करेंगे, ताकि एकदम फिल्टर होके कोरोना पेशेंट्स और likely symptomatic or asymptomatic patients can be referred to government hospitals. Thereby, they stop spreading corona as well as to decongest the municipal hospitals. So today, sir, we take this opportunity under your able leadership at every stage. I know this project is close to your heart, sir. Under your leadership, we will do. CREDA MCHI is committed. Today, we are committed to start with one van in each of the ward. That would be 24 wards we will launch today, starting probably with your permission to roll it out at Worli. We are just working on some back office logistics, but we will soon start in Mumbai. Just to give thoda background about in Pune, so far we've been able to screen 68,000 people, roughly, out of which 549 were symptomatic, and out of which 149 are confirmed corona positive patients. So what we feel is, if we can identify those patients before, and अगर हम बीएमसी और गवर्नमेंट की हॉस्पिटल्स को डीकंजेस्ट कर सकते हैं आपके लीडरशिप के अंदर, तो we feel we will be able to, for our city of Mumbai, who's given each one of us so much, we will be able to give back. And it is under the direct experience of BJS, Bharatiya Jain Sanstha, who have been doing this for more than 30-40 years. So we need your help, sir. We need your guidance, but hands and legs will be ours. Very happy to say that for the first 24 vans, we have already got a donor in place. Mr. Vallabh Bhansali, co-founder of Enam Financials, has come forward and agreed to fund all the 24 vans. And I'm sure in days to come, lot of our members, lot of our people, so money will not be a criteria. The van, the standard operating procedures, everything. Today BMC has committed that they will give us 15 doctors and nurses to start with. So sir, we hope then probably next 7 days we'll put everything in place and start rolling out, and we will keep learning on our way. But we are very happy to announce that under your leadership, we should be able to roll this out. Thank you.
Thank you, Nenesh. Sir, without taking much time, Aditya ji, everyone is really eager to listen to you and hear you. Just before you start, sir, we would like to welcome Sachin Bhauji. Thank you, Sachin Bhauji, for being here today. And Anand Mane, one of our very young developer, who's also part of your team, and he's also here. So thank you, everyone. And sir, please go ahead. Aditya Thackeray ji, sir.
Thank you so much. Firstly, it's a pleasure to be interacting with all of you again with the MH CREDA, because I remember coming to the convention with my colleagues, be it Rohit Pawar, be it Ruturaj, so all of us were there, and I remember interacting with all of you. Of course, firstly, let me thank all of you from the bottom of my heart, and from the Chief Minister as well, and from the entire government, because like Nayanji said, that normally there is this whole view of whether corporates are participating in helping governments in times of crisis. And obviously when this whole perspective has come up in terms of how many people who is helping and things like that, this whole association has not thought twice. They have committed completely their minds, their bodies, their soul, tan man dhan pura leke. BMC ho, state government ho, Pune Municipal Corporation ho, har jagah everyone has supported the government so wholeheartedly. Let me thank all of you. Like Nayanji was saying, the 7 steps, I think these 7 steps that you have taken, these are the broad ones, but there are many more minute ones that you have taken, which I know of and you know of, and probably individuals out here know of that you haven't even spoken about. So let me thank all of you on behalf of the Chief Minister, the Deputy Chief Minister, and the entire government for your wholehearted support. Normally, when we talk about government and government response to any action, of course, right now we're getting a lot of credit about what is happening and how things are being dealt with and how migrant labor is being taken care of when the Chief Minister speaks about this in his address. My personal opinion is government is not just the ministers and the bureaucracy or the MLAs. Government is always all of you as well, because you have crucially supported the government, whichever party it is, by A, firstly voting for it, B, supporting in such times, and C, obviously, other means like paying taxes, creating homes and things like that. So I think you're a crucial part of government. So let me thank all of you for that. This whole thing with the BJS, with Shantilal Muthaji, of course, our association goes back a long time, and I've seen his work all the time. Whenever I meet him, I come out a little scared of that meeting because of the scale of his work. You end up thinking whether one man can actually be doing this and whether this is possible or not. But at the end of it, he ends up doing it. So that is, I think, very, very credible. And one man with a crazy passion to help people like this, I think that is all it takes for everyone to come together and support. So again, thank you, Shantilalji. I've been actually last night I called him, and I'll be speaking to him again. So these are things that we are doing. Of course, I don't need to brief you on what the government response is, because you are an essential part of the government response, and you have been helping us in getting those things done as well equally. So let me jump into talking about COVID. And one of the biggest issues again here is, like you said, that this industry is called the real estate industry. But I'm so thankful to everyone, right from Magar Sahib to everyone, कि real estate zari na wasla, that currently we are all focusing on the real problem, which is COVID, and you all are helping us with the real solutions, which is on ground. For example, migrant labor. I'm sure everyone knows out here, but currently, as of in Maharashtra today, we're giving food and breakfast to almost 6.5 lakh migrant labor in almost 3,500 labor camps across Maharashtra, giving them breakfast, tea, lunch and dinner. That is 3 meals a day, which is tremendous job. And of course, this is also with the support of corporates like yourself and many other industries. So I think these are things that are really crucial. COVID is something that the world is trying to grapple with. We are fighting an invisible enemy. We are fighting a virus that has brought the world to its knees. And honestly, when I look back in the history of the world, there has been never a time that the entire world has come to a standstill like what it has come today. We have faced many epidemics before. We've faced pandemics before, right from Ebola to SARS to the plague to everything. We have faced world wars. We have faced wars. We have faced a nuclear bomb. Everything has happened in the world. But global transport has never come to a standstill. Global economy, global trade, commerce has never come to a standstill like it has come today. And obviously, this is a situation which no government in the world, no official in the world, no person in the world individually, or not even science till now, has been able to understand or grapple with. All of us are shooting arrows in the dark, trying to find out cure, trying to find how to manage this COVID. And the other side is, of course, we have some set protocols, medical protocols coming from WHO, coming from ICMR, coming from Government of India, coming from Government of Maharashtra, and also individual scientists who are setting certain standards and protocols of managing COVID. As of last night, I can proudly tell you that Maharashtra alone has had 89,197 tests. So when we speak about the only method to manage COVID-19, because coronavirus has existed in India in various other strains, it has existed in Maharashtra as well. This is a new strain which has been developed, and as a country, we were the fifth country to actually isolate this strain and notice and work on this strain. But while we do that, and of course, I won't go into the depths of what corona is and what the symptoms are, because almost every one of you has been reading newspapers, and all of us at night, because we're not getting sleep, is going on Google, searching it. We're going through, WHO pages and all of that. So everyone knows what corona is by now. But what is the government of Maharashtra's response? And when we started off, our first few cases were found in Pune. And of course, these were travelers. Firstly, it was called a traveler's bug, the rich man's virus, when travelers brought it into Maharashtra. A couple of people who had gone on a particular tour agency to the Middle East, they came back. And like Nayanji got a call, we started quarantining people at the airport itself. All the foreign travelers that were coming in, we were screening them, quarantining them. A couple of countries had been put on the red list, couple of them were put on later, like the UAE and USA and the Middle East. However, having said that, right from about 8th or 9th of March, we started with a phase-wise lockdown. Around 18th or 19th March, the Chief Minister declared a complete lockdown in Maharashtra. And from 23rd or 24th March, the country went into a lockdown. So today, if you see, the condition of the world is in a lockdown. Our country is in a lockdown. Our state is in a lockdown. There is no inter-district travel allowed. And then within a few cities where we have hotspots, we have containment zones. I was fortunate or unfortunate enough to have the first containment zone in my own constituency, which is the Worli Kolivada. Unfortunate because of the amount of people who were taken in as patients and the amount of people who were taken to be as COVID positive. But then the good news is that is the first containment zone that has given a model to the rest of India, that how do you seal off a hotspot and how do you ensure, because we face, unfortunate part was we faced all the possible teething issues, right from milk supplies to vegetables to groceries to gas into Kolivada, which is, at a small peninsula almost in the sea and narrow lanes. So it is of course a very difficult area to navigate and enter. The first 2-3 days, of course, all of us were grappling with issues of medicine, which is of COVID-19, of trying to obviously test and see how many people are positive. The other was a very social issue of how do you go and give food to families with kids, with elders, with dependent population, of how do you reach out with food and essentials and medicines to people who need it at that time. So these were the basic challenges, but later on, the good news is last night, 91 people were released, and now in the next 48 hours, probably 114 more people will be released and sent back to their own homes in Worli. So having the first containment zone, also have a lot of people who are going back, treated and cured and going back. One of the basic challenge all of us across the world face and are questioning is what is the reason or which age group is actually more susceptible or more vulnerable to it. And everyone is saying that the senior citizens, 60 plus, 65 plus, with underlying comorbidity, underlying complications are facing it. Thankfully, again, across Mumbai, we see, and especially in my constituency, we've had people right from the age of 30 to 78 actually going to a hospital because they tested positive, treating it, managing it, and then coming back fully cured and testing negative twice, coming back to their homes in the last few days. The Chief Minister also spoke to the mother of a 6-month-old who had a corona, who got healed and he's gone back home. And he also spoke to a lady who was 86 years old, who had corona, went to the hospital for 14 days, tested negative, and then came back home. So these are the basic issues that, the good silver linings that we are looking at. Of course, many people, almost 86% of all our cases are asymptomatic. And when you are asymptomatic, as per our standard protocol, we have CCC 1, COVID Care Center 1, COVID Care Center 2, and then hospitalization. Most of our COVID patients are going into CCC 2, which means you need no medical intervention as yet. You only need to be in an observation. And obviously the rest follows. 14 days, you have to be in isolation. You will have to be tested twice, negative, and then you can go back home. So all of that is going on. Of course, a major challenge for all of us around the world is while dealing with this, or while testing, there are 3 things. One is test, and the other is contact tracing after that. And then the third is hospitalization. When we talk about test, let me just run you through of what we are doing. The rapid test kits, there has been a lot of discussion over it, and the government of India has sent the test kits, but has put everything on hold, primarily because 2 of the test kits came off across, absolutely faulty in Rajasthan. And therefore, the government of India has actually put the rapid tests on hold. The PCR swabs that we are doing, we have increased our test capacity every single day. We have a great cooperation and coordination between private labs and government labs, which are coordinating the response. We have a set protocol as per ICMR of how to test people, when to test people, how to respond to a COVID call. We're also coming out with a helpline in Mumbai and then across Maharashtra. There have been a couple of helplines that there has been a WhatsApp chat bot. I will also text you, so you could obviously send a hi to it and start responding. And you could, start off with all your queries, apart from when will the lockdown come off, because that is the only query I'm getting across right now. So apart from that, every query of COVID and non-COVID health essentials, that will be answered there. Another major issue we face is, of course, of once you have tested the people, how do you take them into a healthcare center? So obviously ambulances, we are facing an issue, and that is across the world. Um, Hospitalization and PPE kits. Of course, again, you must have read a lot about PPE kits and where they are coming from. We've asked a lot of you that, if anyone's asking us, how do you help us? And we are saying, yes, you can give to the Chief Minister's Relief Fund. Yes, you can support us with hoardings, with communication, with everything else. But the most important thing we're asking all of you is N95 masks and PPE kits. Now, again, there are SOPs set by the WHO, there are SOPs set by ICMR of who can really use a PPE kit, where is it really helpful, where is it not helpful. Because again, while using a PPE kit, the biggest danger is if you don't remove it or put it on in a proper way, if you don't dispose it after removal in a proper way, you can cause more infection to many more people than not using it at all. So this is the major issue. Yes, initially there was a shortfall of PPE kits, there was a shortfall of ICU beds, there was a shortfall of N95 masks, because again, the sort of epidemics and pandemics we've dealt with before, or the sort of public health issues that the world has dealt with before, you have never had the need to use so many PPE kits as you are finding today. And therefore you see the United States of America, you see China, you see Japan, you see Italy, you see Spain, you see India, trying to buy off PPE kits from vendors at whatever rates possible. And in the middle, the rates had spiked up. Some of you who have been helping us and dealing with individual vendors, you must have imagined the rates that have been spiked up. Now, because of many more producers, and especially a lot of people who I know, who I'm really thankful to in the textile industry, they retrofitted their companies, their manufacturing units to create PPEs. They got all the relevant certifications, and they've actually broken the price barrier, and they've disrupted the whole market to give us the PPEs in much larger quantities and at much cheaper rates. So the state is directly procuring from them. Whoever is actually coming to me also for CSR purposes, I'm saying, please get us PPEs more than anything else. So PPEs and hospitals, of course, we're ramping up now. Ambulances is an issue, but there are many more people, many more corporates who are helping us with that. Mr. Firodia also has been helping us with that. So all of these things are, going on. What is the biggest challenge? I'll come to that later, because COVID tackling is one thing. But there are two more issues that I really want to speak about. I've spoken about the traveler's bug. The bug has now, if you see, moved from high-rise societies and buildings into slums. That first thing of transmission has happened. The center is, of course, going by predictions and algorithmical, mathematical predictions and projections that are saying there will be a spike in the country, like other countries in the world. However, we're doing everything we can, everything we must to hold that spike. Now, the obvious question is, what use is a lockdown? How much long will the lockdown go on for? One of the persons actually speaking here also said, we will be focusing on a post-COVID world, and that won't be the priority now, like the person said. And the reason why I say is not a priority right now is we don't know when that post-COVID world will emerge. Will it emerge tomorrow? Will it emerge day after tomorrow? Will it emerge after 3 months, after 6 months? When does this whole lockdown business get over? The Chief Minister of Maharashtra actually got into a phase-wise lockdown, not a knee-jerk reaction from the 8th of March, first shutting down schools and colleges, then offices, work from home, then essential travels, and all of that, malls, mills, gyms, spas, theaters, all of that actually came to a grinding halt in a phase-wise manner. Having said that, one of the biggest challenges for us personally is a lockdown. Because when you're enforcing a lockdown onto people, some of us are fortunate enough that we have bigger homes, be it bungalows, bigger flats, that we are locked in, and we have people who are helping us by getting groceries for us or home delivery of food or all the essentials. But there are also people in our major cities, be it Pune, be it Mumbai, where you have 16 people, 18 people locked up into a smaller room, which is actually meant for 4 people. So this lockdown is actually creating issues for us on multiple grounds. One is, how do you go forward with groceries, vegetable supplies, eggs, milk, meat, or any delivery of essential item to these people without letting the crowd onto the streets? So that, of course, we are managing. All our collectors, municipal commissioners, ward officers, all of them have been fantastically dealing with. There are issues, there will be issues, there will be lockdowns, law and order issues, but we have to deal with it case by case. So that is all going on. The other is, we get disoriented by just staying at home, because all of us are workaholics. We want to step out, we want to work. Of course, you will also have a certain amount of people who have realized that half of the industry can actually work from home. They don't need to step out onto the roads and create traffic in a post-COVID world, and you can actually work efficiently from home. But there are also some of us who are wanting to step out, go and help people, do our work and keep the industry running so that the staff you employ, the employees you employ, are not pushed out of industry. But while we do that, a lot of us are also being disoriented. We have started two major things for that. One is a mental healthcare helpline with the Birla Group, and the other with the Project Mumbai Group. So, on a particular day, we get about roughly 5,000 to 6,000 calls on that. A lot of them are also to do with anxieties of their own jobs, the industry, when the lockdown will be over, will I lose my job? What is the post-COVID world? When is it coming? What if I get COVID? So all of that. And the other is we've launched a helpline, which is of course 100, which is always ongoing, but we are increasing our police force onto that, is for domestic violence. Because obviously there are some homes where women face domestic violence when, things are not going as per what the family feels like. So these are two things we're really grappling with. The third thing which we really face a challenge, and we are trying to deal with that very swiftly with the task force, is the death rate. The death rate is only high due to two reasons. One is comorbidity, which is underlying complications, which may be BP, diabetes, hypertension, or any other ailment which comes along with COVID. But that also escalates only and only when the case or the symptomatic patient really comes in late to a hospital. So we've had people who have come to hospital and collapsed. We've had people who have come to the hospital and died in 3 hours. And that is only because a symptomatic case has not really been brought to the right hospital well in time. So we're working on a helpline which will be launched today or tomorrow, which actually enables you to call up the helpline and say what you are facing. In that meanwhile, you will have an ambulance dispatched, coming to you, giving you an option whether you want to go to a private or a public hospital. And the facilities for both will be the same. We're also ramping up with the projections, which hopefully should not come through. But if just in case it comes through, we're ramping up our hotspot areas with many more modular hospitals. And that is where, again, I would appeal to all of you to bring forth. See, everything is not done in terms of money, because money, thankfully, is not a shortage for all of us. But, what I would really need your help on is expertise, is putting new ideas to implementation and implementation of these things. A lot of vendors who might be with you, a lot of workers might be with you, a lot of ideas might be with you for modular hospitals. So we can, normally when a builder meets a politician, it's called a builder-politician nexus. And I've said this at your event itself, that let's build a true nexus which actually helps the people. Because both you and us are fulfilling the dreams of people. You all are giving homes to people, a shelter to people, and we're trying to enable that through you. So right now, when we have the requirement for a modular hospital, most of you have actually sent me WhatsApps about modular hospitals, which are, in your office, which the plans of which are in your office. We could really implement them. We've put together a team to implement them at different places, because currently, as per the projections, ICU beds would be a real necessity, but not for many, many people. What we need today currently is just beds or lying in hospitals for people who are asymptomatic, who can come there, be isolated from the society, don't happen to be carriers of the bug, and they can, just stay in there or have oxygenation if needed. But that is the first line of treatment that everyone's doing. The biggest challenge that I want to address with all of you, and in terms of the society at large, is we are dealing with the bug, we are dealing with the virus, we're dealing with PPE kits, N95 masks, hospitalization, modular hospitals, we're dealing with the death rate, everything we are dealing with. A challenge that the world is facing today, and especially India is facing today, is fake news and social media, because these are two things where incidents are being put into communal light, incidents are being put up onto television with the most, absurd imagination, and then instigation of violence. I think these are things we need to really deal with and put down in the strongest form possible, because these are things that won't create a good impact for a society any which ways in any time possible. But currently, when the police force, law and order enforcement agencies, all of us are trying to stay home, trying to stay, trying to keep people home, everyone's under duress. There are social media people, trolls in fact, who are trying to communalize things, trying to spark riots, trying to create hate. I think that is what the biggest challenge is, and that is what we need to address in a very strong manner. So these are the basic issues of the COVID and post-COVID world. Post-COVID world, of course, I'm expecting sometime around June or July, but I don't know whether that's an accurate prophecy, because obviously there are projections happening, there are spikes expected. We don't know when international flying, domestic flying will start, domestic travel will start. But the post-COVID world will definitely be something which is way different than the pre-COVID world. Like Magar Sahab rightly said that you have BC and AD, and you will also have pre-corona and post-corona worlds, because like 9/11 changed the entire security aspect and apparatus of the world, changed the way we started flying out. Corona will also do that for sure in a very medical way. We will have to look at our healthcare facilities. We will have to look at our own habits, starting from our own habits, because how do you keep safe? Of course, you will have a shortfall of hospitals if the patients increase. You will have a shortfall of hospitals and PPE kits and N95 masks and ICU beds if the patients increase. How do you prevent that? The way to prevent that is by breaking the chain. The way to prevent that is by a lockdown. The way to prevent that is to stay home, stay safe, stay indoors, keep your hands sanitized, washed, not touching surfaces at all, not touching our faces. I see a lot of people with our faces on the hand. That is again very, very dangerous. So these are basic habits that we as the human race would have to change in a post-corona world. After SARS, many Eastern countries, many Oriental countries started using masks. Is that necessary for a country? One of the questions you raised is, of course, the transmission has happened to slums, and that is one of the biggest challenges we're facing when we're making containment zones in slums. So how do we expedite the housing industry, the real estate industry, to make homes faster? How does the government support them and reduce the delays is also something we'll have to look at, because some of the countries that have been successful in implementing a lockdown have also had home units which have a toilet within the homes. They have individual home units unless they have a community housing, unlike what we have today. So these are things I think we need to give a broad thought about a slum-free Mumbai, about infrastructure, about economic growth. Like someone rightly pointed out, we've made a committee of experts, of economists, and they of course will be meeting each and every sector of the country and of obviously industry, and figure out what a post-COVID world is, because we don't need to just rejuvenate the industry. We also need to give a stimulus package to rejuvenate it. We need to give incentives for industry growth after rejuvenation, because rejuvenation will bring you back to a status which you are alive. But how do you make it fitter? How do you make it run after getting life again is a question that we need to really ask ourselves. I wouldn't commit to any fulfillment of any promises right now, or any questions right now that would be about whether we can do this financially or whether we can do this financially, because of course that will be a larger thought, and the Honorable Finance Minister will discuss with the Chief Minister, with the economists, all of that. But all your suggestions are needed, because like I said, we're all in this together. And when we're in this together, we have to come out of this together. Many people, many industries, much of the economy is dependent on you. A lot of the dreams of people buying homes are dependent on you. How do we come out of this very successfully? Also will be largely dependent on you and us, together as us, because how do we help each other is the main question. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Aditya. It was a great insight about Corona, and I think a lot of us, we've been hearing through news, been hearing through other mediums, but I think hearing from you gives us a lot more insight and a lot more information. Thank you very much for this. Sir, we obviously have a lot of questions coming up, and this session has been curated as a youth session, and we have a lot of youth wing members from all over Maharashtra wanting to come and ask you a few questions. Before we go for the questions, sir, we have a few suggestions and things that obviously we see you as the future of Maharashtra and our voice to the government. Sir, our request is only one thing, that I'm sure government is definitely going to, as you said, is going to take a lot of steps towards the betterment of Maharashtra and the economy as a whole. And you have a team which is there with Deepak Parekhji and many other eminent personalities over there. One request from our side would be, sir, if CREDAI also could be, post the suggestions given, if they can be seen, because we feel after agriculture, real estate is the second largest economy which helps the economy run, and there are a lot of, employment in this industry. So if some suggestions from our end could also be implemented, will help us a lot, and obviously the Maharashtra as a state a lot. So that was just a small suggestion from our end, sir.
Absolutely. That is what we're going to trouble you with later. How do you rejuvenate your industry? So we need suggestions from you. पण परवा मला एक कोणीतरी सांगत होतं की स्टॅम्प ड्युटी कमी करा आणि हप्ते थोडे डिफर करा. तर मी पहिलं सांगितलं की पहिला हातावरचा स्टॅम्प कमी करूया क्वारंटीनचा, मग त्याच्यात सगळं आपण बोलू शकतो.
I think that वो हम लोग ये क्वारंटीन स्टैम्प से शुरू करते हैं, फिर वहां जाएंगे. Sir, we have the first question from Nasik, Mr. Gaurav Thakkar is over here. He would like to ask you a question.
Good afternoon, Aditya ji. Aditya ji, we see a great leader in you, and I'm sure you have great vision for Maharashtra. First question, I wanted to ask something which is, other than COVID, not much related to COVID. Of course, you might be having your views, keeping in mind the situation. But Aditya ji, Maharashtra has various cities like Pune, Mumbai, Nasik. Mumbai is the financial capital. Nasik has different USP, such as it is a wine capital or great climate, green environment. So our Maharashtra has different cities with various USPs. Sir, my question is that how can we make use of these USPs to make our state more vibrant? And how, as a fraternity, we can contribute into your vision to make our state the number one state in the country? Thank you.
Sir, you are on mute, sir.
So Gauravji, basically, if you remember, when we had just taken over government, we had started off interacting with different associations, because normally when governments take over, the common perspective of most governments is, now that we are elected and we are ministers, we are the wisest and the smartest of all in the land. But that is not the case. I think we have to always move ahead with interactions, with solutions coming from discussions that happen with different sectors of the industry, with different people, right from farmers to students to even the unemployed. So there are so many ideas and thought processes that have to be brought together. We had started off interacting with the real estate industry on especially how do we expedite permissions from the municipal corporations and the state government, be it my ministry or be it anyone else's ministry. Likewise, from the other Ministry of Tourism, each district, like you rightly said, has a different speciality. If you look at Maharashtra, Maharashtra is truly, as it means, a great nation. We have everything that India has, apart from the Thar Desert, within our own state. Now, how do you pitch that to the world, right? From tourism to housing to the food and beverage industry. So these are thought processes that we had started off with. And of course, a lot of implementation had also started. A lot of clearances have started right now. But we would want to resume this because, again, governance is a process which is a two-way process. If we start implementing ideas that are absurd or that are not relevant to you, it's not going to help anyone in the state. You have to listen to your voice constantly, to the voices that don't really come up to us or don't reach Mantralaya. We have to listen to those voices which are the softest and try to reach out to them. So obviously this will go on with the dialogue ahead.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Naman Shah from Bombay, he would like to ask something.
The only reason I answer it with the answer of a dialogue is because, I won't make false promises that are completely out of proportion and not deliver. I would like to deliver what is possible and both ways manageable.
Much appreciated.
Sure, sir.
Thank you.
Sure.
Hello, sir. Good afternoon. Naman Shah here from Sri Naman Group, Bombay. I'm also a member of the CREDAI MCHI Youth Wing and the managing committee of the CREDAI MCHI. It's an honor to have you here today amongst all of us, sir. I'm sure I'm talking on behalf of all the youth members specifically. It's a great honor to have such a young, dynamic, dashing leader like you. The country is in a great hands for the future, not only the country, the state, of course, to start off with. Thank you, sir, for being such a great youth icon for all of us and keep inspiring us the same way. We'd love to emulate the same way how you're running the government today in our personal and professional lives. So I had two questions, sir. How do you suggest we should fight this pandemic in our professional and personal lives post the lockdown? And also, sir, avoiding the COVID questions, a very futuristic question I would like to ask you is, Bombay, Pune, now they're compared to cities all across the world, like London, New York, Singapore. All of them have like a Champs-Élysées, Orchard Street, Fifth Avenue. What is your vision? And we specifically would like to understand from you is in the next 5-10 years, how do you suggest a vision to have Bombay with a high-end shopping area and a boardwalk on those lines, and which will help the entire state?
Thank you, Naman. Actually, please, I'm just like all of you. There's nothing special about me that makes me a youth icon or whatever. I just think in a very selfish way of what I need in my state or my city, and I try to voice that. So that's a huge compliment from you. But I think all of us are the same. We're all trying to do a little bit for each other. And, I think the biggest satisfaction is when at the end of the day, you help someone or you do something which is good. It is that feeling that gives you satisfaction. You like to go to work. I think that is very important. About tackling COVID, professional and personal ways, I think, like I said, what we need to learn from this whole thing is how do we emerge out of it. One of the most important things I feel is our social habits and civic discipline. This is something that if we can, upgrade for our own selves, if we start off with our own selves, right from say waste management to not even spitting on the roads or even just maintaining a social distance. I think these are things that we could really learn from the COVID epidemic, because these are things that have created a transmission on a much faster level than what was thought it could possibly. And these are things that could really help us move out of it faster. So, of course, self-discipline and civic discipline, these are two things which could help us. Professionally, I think what we've also learned is we've run so fast in our professional lives and given so much pace to this running that when we have all actually come into a pause moment, of course, none of us have come into a pause moment, especially in the government, because we are answering calls till 3 o'clock in the night. But we realize that how much we've invested in just spending time commuting from one place to another. A lot can happen over phone calls, a lot can happen sitting in one place and not actually emitting so many pollutants across the globe. So these are things that we could really think about. How do we lead our lives? Is it really worth, pacing up and down all the time? Or can you just sit with your own family, with your own friends, close ones, and communicate and work around the world? So these are two things. One of the most important aspects or fears that I have are the mental stress or trauma that we are all going to come out of this with. And therefore we've started mental health care helplines out here. Because, all of us are anxious about our own jobs, about our businesses, about what will happen in the post-COVID world. But we have to communicate to everyone who's under stress that you are not alone. It's not just our state alone. It's not just our country alone. It's the 7 billion people across the world who are facing the same anxiety, the same stress, the same issues that probably someone in a particular street or a particular house in Mumbai is facing. So I think we need to communicate that. The other fear I have is with this whole thing of social distancing, which is extremely essential right now, with the whole thing of, the stigmas that are attached to COVID or a disease like COVID. We need to also build a lot of empathy and compassion and realize that once a person is cured, you cannot, castigate him from the society. We need to, in fact, work on an inclusion, because today the borders are sealed, our homes are sealed, we're in self-quarantine, we're distancing ourselves from the people. And I see so many of my friends on Instagram and on social media who are actually happy to be in self-isolation. I think that humans cannot survive on their own. We need company. We need to, maintain the physical distance and social distance, but we also need to have compassion and empathy for the world. So I think this is something that we need to really take forward from here. What was the next question? Sorry, it was the non-COVID question was?
So the non-COVID question was, what is your vision to convert Mumbai and Maharashtra and overtake, all the cities?
When we're looking at Mumbai or Maharashtra at whole, and in terms of urbanization, urbanization a couple of years ago was a concept that was feared by most government officials, because urbanization meant that you're moving quickly from a village scenario to concretization, to taller buildings, to more homes, more population. But today, urbanization has also another aspect, which is wastewater management, solid waste management, better healthcare facilities, better education facilities. So these are good aspects of urbanization that are also moving into the rural areas. We have to give into the fact that more than half of Maharashtra will be urbanized very soon. If you travel from Mumbai to Pune, nowadays you don't find any open space, or you don't see meadows between the two cities, and probably they will merge at a point of time. Having said that, for cities like Mumbai or Pune, of course, when I started off way back in 2013 trying to pitch for a Mumbai 24/7, the whole idea was if someone like, say, London or New York or any city in the world, or be it even Indore, can remain open with its saraf of 24/7, why can't a city like Mumbai? Because the food and beverage industry in Mumbai actually employs about 5.5 lakh people. On a daily basis, it's something which, these figures are crazy. If you look at the nighttime economy of London, the nighttime economy of London, only from 9 p.m. to 9 a.m. is almost 26 billion pounds within those 12 hours. So these are things that we need to really look at, because yes, there are safety issues across the world, there are terrorist issues across the world, there are social issues across the world. But as a state, we need to start trusting our people much more. We need to give them space to vent out their feelings, to have a chill time. Along with that, of course, this was the first time in this budget that we've actually allocated about 1,000 crores to Mumbai itself for tourism. Now, they will be also reallocated in the rejuvenation of that industry. But we have areas like Gateway of India, Kanheri Caves, Gilbert Hills. Now, Gilbert Hills is something which I don't know how many of you all know, but it is a rock piece that is jutting out from the surface, and it is almost 600 million years old. The only other rock that is so old is the Devil's Rock in Utah. Now, they have marketed that to the world, and we've never even, known about it with staying in our own city. Something like, say, Stratford-upon-Avon. They have almost 10 lakh people visiting it daily. And then you have ancillary industries for tourism like cafes, travels, restaurants, souvenir shops based on that. We have never really thought of Maharashtra as a state that could really be banking on tourism. Now, yesterday I was in a Zoom call with the Minister of Tourism from Rajasthan. But we really need to think on the lines of developing our city, our state, our other cities into what could be a tourist attraction. Because when we start looking at tourist attractions, you have a lot more things that come into picture. You have the main tourism industry, which is your monuments, which is your museums, which could be many attractions, be it Bollywood, be it cricket. We don't have a cricket museum or a Bollywood museum in Mumbai. So things like that. So once you start looking at that, you obviously have people employed in that. You start looking at the surroundings. They have to be clean. They have to be presentable. Automatically, the city starts upgrading itself. You have better footpaths. Then you have public transport, which will be upgraded. So you have a ripple effect across with tourism, and then you also have industry. So industry and tourism industry, these are two things that I really feel that we should be focusing on. Of course, the upgradation of a city, it is the first time probably that the municipal corporations of Mumbai and Pune have actually started working with architects and city planners, young students who could actually look at the city in a different way. How do you do smaller interventions that could help you in big time? For example, Bloomberg City Lab is working with the Mumbai Municipal Corporation for giving us better pedestrian movement. Now, if you have noticed while driving around, you will come to a grinding halt at the signal. You will notice a zebra crossing that is fading out, and people walking from a footpath on a zebra crossing, walking onto a divider, and then you have a zebra crossing on the other side. So essentially, you have to jump over the divider to move on to the other side of the road. Now, basic interventions that we need to create, and this is where city planning comes into picture. Where do you really need side railings on a footpath? What should be the size of a footpath? What is the type of blocks that you put on the footpath? You put paver blocks, you put embossed concrete. What color should your zebra crossing be? Where should your pedestrian refuge area be? Do you need multiple poles on at a traffic light? Do you need, say, 6 for CCTV, 6 for signals, 6 for some public announcement, or can you put that on one pole? So aesthetically, if you start looking at the city in a very artistic way, in a very cultural way, that is where the real difference could happen. For example, the coastal road was something CM Uddhav Thackeray had pitched in 2013. That is being moved by the BMC. That work is going on. Another thing that we've pitched to the center is, for example, the east coast of Mumbai. We've always seen sunsets in Mumbai. We've always seen the western coast of Mumbai. The eastern coast of Mumbai is about 911 acres. Now, if we bring in open space, we bring in promenades, that is the length of 19 marine drives, or probably more, that you will get in Mumbai. And you will have so much open space. You have roads there, you have railroads there, you have everything possible there. We just need to open it up to the city, right? Hand it over from the BPT to the government or to the municipal corporations, and like that, you'll have so many areas in multiple cities across Maharashtra which have defunct areas which could be rejuvenated in that sense. So I think these are aspects you could really look at in a post-COVID world, and in which ways we were looking at in a pre-COVID world. So that is how we could pitch our cities to the world.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. I'm further convinced that other countries will be emulating us listening to all of this, and we'll overtake all of them. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Aditya. It was very good. I think I personally, staying in Mumbai, I didn't know Gilbert Hill was so old.
Yeah.
So it's something which is very nice, and I'm sure we will take this over. We have another question from Mr. Girish Raibagiji. He's from Kolhapur. Girishji, can you please ask the question?
Yeah. Namaskar, Uddhavji. Namaskar.
गिरीशजी नमस्कार. आदित्य
ऐकायला जाऊ सॉरी. माझा प्रश्न अगदी सोपा आहे. रिअल इस्टेटशी रिलेटेड नाही आहे डायरेक्टली, इनडायरेक्टली रिअल इस्टेटशी रिलेटेड आहे. मी टुरिझम आणि हॉस्पिटॅलिटी इंडस्ट्री बद्दल बोलणार आहे. आता आपल्याला माहिती आहे की या कोविडमुळे ऑलमोस्ट सर्व इंडस्ट्री हिट झालेले आहेत, पण यातली सर्वात वर्स्ट इंडस्ट्री हिट झालेली असेल तर ती टुरिझम आणि हॉस्पिटॅलिटी आहे. तज्ञांचा अंदाज सांगतो की पुढचे 8-9 महिने लागतील या इंडस्ट्रीला परत उभारण्याकरता. तर मला थोडंसं जाणून घ्यायचं होतं सरकारकडून ह्याच्या स्पीडी रिकव्हरी करता काय प्रयत्न होत आहेत एक. आणि दुसरं, आता बराचसा माझ्या ह्या प्रश्नाचं उत्तर नमनच्या प्रश्नामध्ये आपण कव्हर केलेलं आहे, पण गेल्या काही वर्षामध्ये जर आपण पाहिलं तर महाराष्ट्र टुरिझमच्या प्रमोशनच्या बाबतीत थोडा मागं पडल्यासारखं वाटतो. जेव्हा आपण मध्य प्रदेश, गुजरात वगैरे त्यांचं मार्केटिंग बघतो तेव्हा महाराष्ट्राचं मार्केटिंग थोडंसं कमी वाटतं. ज्या लहान शहरं आहेत महाराष्ट्रामधली, मग कदाचित औरंगाबाद असेल, नाशिक असेल, कोल्हापूर असेल, माझं या ठिकाणी खूप काही पोटेन्शियल आहे टुरिझम करता. ते एक्सप्लोअर करण्याकरता आपण काय विजन ठेवता?
नक्कीच टुरिझम आणि ट्रॅव्हल इंडस्ट्री जशी हिट झाली आणि मी बघतोय की त्याच्यानंतर एअरलाईन्स किती टेक ऑफ घेऊ शकतील का, हॉटेल्सचं काय परिस्थिती आहे. अर्थात हॉटेल्सनी पण खूप मदत केली, काही काही ठिकाणी क्वारंटाईन सेंटर्स बनवायला, काही आयसोलेशन सेंटर्स बनवायला, हॉस्पिटल्समध्ये जेवण देतात, पोलीस स्टाफनं जेवण देतात. पण हे सगळं करत असताना जसं मी सांगितलं की प्रत्येक इंडस्ट्री आपली महाराष्ट्रातलीच नाही तर जगभरातली ही अफेक्टेड आहे. त्याला साधारण काही ना काहीतरी डॅमेज झालेलं आहे. पॉजमध्ये आहोत आणि नंतर त्याच्यातून रिज्युमिनेट कसं करायचं, लोकांना फिरायला पण भीती वाटेल अशी सगळी जगात परिस्थिती आहे. आणि जे काही वाचतोय आपण, मला वाटत नाही की हे काही कसं ह्याच्यातून बाहेर पडू आता तरी कोणाला ह्याचा अंदाज आहे. पण प्रत्येक इंडस्ट्रीसाठी जसं मी सांगितलं की एक छोटा आपला स्टडी ग्रुप झालेला आहे आणि ते प्रत्येक इंडस्ट्रीशी बोलून आपण काही ना काहीतरी प्रत्येक इंडस्ट्रीसाठी करू शकतो का, त्यांना मार्गावर परत आणू शकतो का, त्यांना त्यांच्यासाठी नवीन काही करू शकतो का. जसं एक रिज्युमिनेशन पॅकेज आहे तसं एक काइंडनेस पॅकेज ज्यांनी आपल्याला मदत केली आहे ह्या काळात त्यांच्यासाठी काहीतरी करू शकतो का, ह्याच्यावर नक्कीच विचार सुरू आहे. मी आता लगेच ह्याच्यावर बोलणार नाही, कारण काय होतं की आपलं आता बघितलं असेल जेव्हा सुरुवात झाली मार्चमध्ये तेव्हा वाटलेलं की अरे एवढ्याच केसेस आहेत, कदाचित त्याच्यातून आपण लवकर बाहेर पडू. मग जसं एप्रिल जवळ आला तसं अरे आता एवढंच झालेलं आपण कदाचित बाहेर पडू. पण जगाला जसं वाटतं की बाहेर पडू, सिंगापूरनी शून्यावर केसेस आणल्या, लॉकडाऊन उचललं आणि केसेस सडनली राईज झालेले आहेत. तर ह्याच्यातून बाहेर किती वेळानंतर पडू, हे कसं होईल, त्याच्यात सरकारला पैसे किती लागतील नंतर आता डील करायला, हा सगळा जर विचार केला तर आता माझ्याकडून कुठचंही ह्याच्यावर वक्तव्य होणं की किती आपण पॅकेज देऊ शकू, काय नक्की मदत करू शकू, मला वाटतं ते योग्य ठरणार नाही. त्याच्यात एक पूर्ण जगातला विचार होईल आणि त्याच्यावर आपण नक्कीच प्रत्येक इंडस्ट्रीला मदत करण्याचा ह्याच्यात आपला मनोदय आहेच आणि तो आपण करूच. दुसरी गोष्ट म्हणजे जसं आपण सांगितलं की महाराष्ट्रात, मी आता पण तेच सांगत होतो की साधारण टुरिझम इंडस्ट्री ही आपण कधी ओळखलीच नाही. म्हणजे कितीतरी गोष्टीत कोल्हापूरच फिरताना आजूबाजूला मी जेव्हा दौरा करत होतो, जन आशीर्वाद यात्रा महाराष्ट्रात फिरत असताना प्रत्येक ठिकाणी आपले गडकिल्ले असतील, बीचेस असतील, डोंगर असतील, सगळं जे काही आपल्याकडे एक निसर्ग आहे किंवा ही जी काही ह्याला आपण वेल्थ बोलू, ही मला वाटत नाही जेवढं आपल्या राज्यात आहे तेवढं कुठच्याही इतर राज्यांमध्ये असेल. राईट फ्रॉम फॉरेस्ट जिथे वाघ आहेत टू फॉरेस्ट जिथे वाघ नाही आहेत, राईट फ्रॉम डोंगर असतील, ट्रेकिंग असेल, हायकिंग असेल, आणि त्या प्रत्येक डोंगराला, प्रत्येक किल्ल्याला एक इतिहास आहे. पण हा इतिहास आपण किती जगासमोर नेलेला आहे. जेव्हा आपण कुठेही फिरतो, जसं आपण विंडझर कासलला गेलो, लीड्स कासलला गेलो किंवा कुठेही गेलो, तिथे गेल्यानंतर आपल्याला ते कानात एक यंत्र देतात आणि पूर्ण एक इतिहास आपल्याला सांगितला जातो. तिथे प्रत्येक गोष्टीसाठी एक वेगळा चार्ज लावला जातो. मग तुम्हाला बाहेर पडताना सोव्हिनियर शॉप मधून बाहेर पडायलाच लागतं, म्हणजे तुम्ही बाहेर पडताना काही ना काहीतरी घेता. तर मार्केटिंग जगाला आपण आपलं स्वतःचं कधी केलंच नाही आणि ह्याची सुरुवात आता आम्ही करत होतो. अनफॉर्च्युनेटली हे सगळं कोरोनाचं जे काही सुरू झालं त्याच्यात आपलं पूर्ण जरा स्टँडस्टिल झालेलं आहे. पण सुरुवात जी झालेली कामाला ती काही थांबली नाहीये. म्हणजे जे बॅकएंडला काम सुरू आहे ते आपलं सुरूच आहे, ते आपण नक्की पूर्ण करू. आणि
थैंक यू वेरी
मच सर. ये टूरिज्म के पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू से एक और भी कई सजेशन आए थे. वन ऑफ देम वाज कि भाई आपने पूरे महाराष्ट्र में स्पेसिफिकली मुंबई, पुणे, नासिक सब जगह इतने सारे नालेज है. जो नाला है, जैसे अगर आप यूरोप में देखते हैं जहाँ पे वेनिस है, एम्स्टरडम है, वहाँ पे वो नाले पे वो लोग दे आर डूइंग लोकल ट्रांसपोर्टेशन या टूरिज्म पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू से. If I don't know if we can, as this will help in tourism and environment as both, because of cleaning of nalas as well as as a tourism point of view. If sir something can be done and started as a pilot project somewhere, and this can definitely help a lot. So this was one of the suggestions which had come
in that. There are two methods to it. One is, of course, whatever effluents are being released from the industries, we're coming down hard on them. Whoever is being compliant with the industry environment norms, we are actually giving them incentives. But river cleaning, nala cleaning in cities, we have to expedite it. Mithi river is going on. Abhi Oshiwara, Dahisar, Poisar river ka tender niklega. Mula Mutha ka shuru hai, Nag Nadi ka shuru hai. So ye not just for tourism but even for aesthetics of a city, I think it's very important. Culturally for a city it's very important. Environmentally it's very important. Of course, the rivers in Europe, I was just reading, Rhine river took about 20 years to clean up. It probably be faster than that. But this goes both ways. There is siltation, which is a natural process. Desilting of that happens so that the river doesn't overflow. But siltation is not essentially bad. What is bad is the effluents that we as untreated waste release into the nala or the sea or the river, which is because of wastewater treatment not being in place. So we are implementing that. And the other is the floating debris, which is whatever we throw into the nala. I think as soon as we start looking at our civic habits, this will also improve.
So we have last two questions, and then we have a little different rapid fire round for us as UK members. So we just request one question coming from Anand Mane, sir. He would like to ask you.
I don't think you should allow Anand to ask a question.
Sir, namaskar.
He has specifically requested us that he would want to do.
This is Anand Mane representing real estate.
Sir, I'm on the other side today. So, sir, the question is about, how you are conducting yourself these days. Sir, first of all, you come from such a big legacy, the family that carries such a big legacy. The amount of pressure and responsibilities that come along with it, sir. How easy or difficult it is to manage that. Plus, sir, individually looking at yourself the way you are calm and composed with this crisis going on. Sir, I'm sure a lot of young developers like me today are going to face crisis in our work. So can you give us some tips on how to manage ourselves personally and how to be such nice, calm and composed during this crisis, sir?
Anand, thank you. That's a very tough question, tougher than COVID, because how to remain calm is obviously every person has a different way to react, and some of us can react like, say, you see different birds. Like, for example, if there's a pigeon and if you make a noise, it'll start fluttering and fly away. And there are also ducks and swans that are actually pedaling below the water. And on see that everyone's calm and composed. So I think being calm is something I take from my father. The moment you are not calm, your colleagues will start panicking, and then the work won't happen. So whatever the condition, whatever the crisis or the situation, be it a victory or a defeat or a victory again, you have to remain calm, because you have to treat all of them equally. That is how they will start respecting you and treating you. So that is one. And about the legacy, I think you have to be thinking as that you're fortunate enough and not of it as a pressure, because there's a reason that you were born in a particular place at a particular time. Not just me, every one of us. And not getting into the deeper philosophical things of karma or the reason to be or whatever. But I think everyone has been born in a particular place, especially all of us. We've got birth in a place where we can actually do something for ourselves and for others. So whatever you find satisfaction in, I think that is your calling. So you shouldn't take the pressure. If you're taking the pressure in a particular field and not enjoying it, there are people who love pressure and enjoy it, and there are people who take pressure and don't enjoy it. If you're taking pressure and not enjoying it, you have to leave the field and do something you really enjoy. But as long as you enjoy what you're doing, as long as you know your intent is good, and you can look into the eyes of the other person and say that I'm not doing anything wrong and I'm loving what I'm doing, I think that is where you can really succeed.
Okay, sir. Thank you. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you. I think it was a very great piece of advice. I think in today's stress time, and a lot of young developers are under stress and they probably have this anxiety. This piece of advice will really go a long way. Thank you, Aditya ji. We have Ketan Ruikar from Pune who would like to ask you a question. Ketan, are you there?
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm Ketan Ruikar from Pune. I'm a member of the CREDAI Youth Wing, of course, and also the managing committee of CREDAI Pune Metro. So you are in quite a paradoxical situation where you are the tourism and environment minister currently, and tourism industry is probably facing one of its worst crisis. And maybe a silver lining to this dark cloud is that the environment is getting better. That's what we've been reading and hearing reports on. So I had a couple of points. Are you actually getting reports from your ministry about the environment, this making a difference to our environment positively? And you continuously said, this is a pause movement. So can we use this pause movement to actually improve our environment and our environment issues? This was my first question, of course. And the second one was, to elaborate on this, we in CREDAI, as well as especially the CREDAI Youth Wing, would love to really work with you on this, on any committees or any forum where you deem fit, so that, to simplify a lot of issues in our environment, to think of out-of-the-box solutions, simple things like getting permissions to local bodies, or even, complex solutions, we would love to work this with you. So this was my second suggestion.
So, Ketan, like you rightly pointed out, the paradoxical situation is that the environment is healing, and then there'll be certain associations that'll be telling me to expedite environmental permissions after this. I'm joking, but what do you think, Dharmeshji?
So,
the thing is, tourism industry, of course, has taken a major hit. Having said that, the tours and travel transport people have actually been helping all the governments. The hotel industry has been supporting the government, and we'll have to support them in a large way once this thing is over. Now, how do you deal with the inherent fear of people who will have a choice to travel for tourism and travel or leisure is something we'll have to largely work on with the finance department and the health ministry across the world. Making sure that everyone feels safe while traveling, because this virus is something that nobody sees or nobody knows where it exists. So as long as we can ensure the safety, that is when it starts moving around. People start moving around. As well as in far of what environment goes, yes, there were certain initial reports about dolphins coming near about whales coming near Mumbai or dolphins coming to Venice. The environment hasn't healed to that aspect, but yes, the recovery has been really fast. We can see the skies around us. They've actually turned blue. Better air quality index, lesser pollution. So obviously these things go hand in hand with the human activity going down. Now, how do we come out of this? How do we start balancing this? Like I said, so many people can work from home is what we've started realizing. But we've also started realizing the nature of environment and basically where the soul lies, how humans can coexist with environment, and if we don't respect it, what it can do to us. So I think humanity at large will have to start thinking of ways to protect environment, respect environment, and work along with it, coexist with it, because it's not two groups. We're not two individual sets of things. We're not people and environment. We all live on the same planet, and we are a part of environment. We contribute to what environment is. So like you rightly pointed out, that we have been monitoring the air quality, water quality very, very closely. Of course, it's just been about a month, but it's drastically improved. As humans start getting back onto the road, you might have more or less of pollution again, but I guess most of us would have probably realized how we can improve these things. So for sure. And about the working groups, I really would want to interact with all of you more, and especially with those who are actually ideating for much more. Of course, housing industry is one, but a lot of us have exposure to different ideas, different thought processes, different education, different friends around the world who could have certain best practices, out of the box ideas to be implemented here. Like I said, finances is one aspect, and that is something that every government will be speaking about, every association will be speaking about. But what I want to interact with you is newer ideas, irrespective of what age group you come from, newer ideas, path-breaking thoughts, disruptions that are positive, and how we could actually implement them. So I think that is something we could really start working on.
So
thank you, sir.
One thing we would, just one. I think one thing we would love to work with you is making Mumbai the fittest city in the country. So this will pass, and I think we should use this period to. I think there is a lie that all of us Mumbaikas have been. We've grown up with. There is no space in Mumbai. I think there is ample space in Mumbai. It's just a question of utilizing it well. Like on Sunday, why shouldn't we make BKC a playground for children? Nobody's there on a Sunday, so we should make BKC a playground. We should make Nariman Point and Malad Estate as playground for children on Sundays. Similarly, every suburb can have an equal street on a Sunday. So I'm just trying to say we would love to come and sit with you and give probably 100 ideas on this. But I think there should be, like all the rights, I think there should be a right to play that every child should have, and we should all together work on it.
So yes, coming to just on a little bit on the environment, I think the post COVID situation, a lot of things I'm sure the government is doing and will definitely do. One small idea and suggestion was that if the environment clearances can be done, which we have already represented, but if they can be done through local urban planning bodies, which will follow the entire rules and regulations given by the state and the central government of environment and department, but at least the permissions come from the local body, so things can move faster. That was one of our suggestions. I'm sure you are working on it. If we could,
we're also trying to make it more transparent as well and more issue based. So,
Dhaval, I have one question, if I may ask.
Yeah, we have just last two. So go ahead. Manish.
Yeah. Aditya ji, I'm 40. I have a pleasure of working with the seniors, so get their wisdom, as well as working with the millennials. Lot of the youngsters are worried whether they should continue in this business, whether they should be a developer, whether they should continue doing real estate. Last 5 to 8 years has actually wiped out our balance sheets and profit. Is there anything that the young generation should get a hope from you or encouragement that this business is viable and will continue to be viable?
Obviously, I don't want to get into the nitty-gritties and politics of it, but almost everyone that I interact with, has faced issues right from demonetization to implementation. Now, whatever is happening. So yes, and then of course, then every industry likewise started getting issues. So, I would only ask them, if not real estate, in which industry would you get into? And you need to be, little more persistent. And it's easier to say, of course, but that is why precisely we have started working. And I'd interacted with a couple of you before also. How do we make this industry more sustainable for the people who are starting off? How do we make it attractive? And at the same time, how do you make this industry time-bound industry where you've started constructions, your permissions are done in time, and you deliver your product on time? So these are things that will actually speed up the process and get more and more people into this.
Youngsters should not lose hope.
Youngsters should
not lose hope.
By we are running short of time. Yeah, sorry.
A lot of people who will be facing a lot of distress, and because of the amounts of money involved in real estate, they will be in a lot more distress than probably some other industries. Let me tell you that this is not the time to worry or stress about. Everyone facing equal issues. Please do not, consider anything good or bad for yourself. If there is anything, I think as the industry supporting.
Yes. Nayan, quickly, last one because we need to close.
Okay. Aditya ji, I'm connected with the Global Vipassana Pagoda, and the pagoda, we receive 15 lakh visitors every year. So maybe once after a month or so, whenever you have time, we wanted to see, and the visitors can increase to 50 lakhs also. It's a great place now. A lot of international spiritual tourism traffic who goes to Bodh Gaya and the Buddha circuit, they come over here, sir. So, sometime whenever you are out of it, sir, we would like to come and discuss about that also with you.
Absolutely.
And finally, we are all really excited for the quick rapid fire round. Preetham from Bombay would like to take this. Preetham.
Hi, Aditya.
And can everyone just mute their thing so that we can be clear. Preetham, you need to unmute.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
I said I have had the pleasure of hearing you when you're school captain, and I can tell you one thing for sure. Mark David will be very, very, very happy to see the grasp on Maharashtra issues and the way you speak. I'm sure your speaking ability has come from Scottish. Both my children were in Scottish, so I've seen you grow from there. Amazing. Tuji parwangi asel तर Aditya, we want to do a small. COVID and everything has made it very heavy for all of us. I think middle bit of lightening up we thought we'll do at the end of the session for you. It won't be difficult questions. You can pass if you wish to. We want to ask you a few questions which will motivate our youth who's seeing you. In fact, some of us who are not so young also are actually very happy that someone like you who could have done anything in the world, you could have become anything else, who came to politics, and we can see some future for the city and the state with people like you. तुझी परवानगी असेल तर मी काही प्रश्न इंग्लिश मध्ये आणि मराठी मध्ये विचारू शकतो. As a youth, what motivates you to get up and be in this business of helping people all the time, especially coming from the family that you come from?
It's just that, like I said, the greatest satisfaction is this. If you would have asked me, of course, as a child, you have different dreams. You want to be in the army, you want to be in the police, you want to be an astronaut. And when you start realizing that astronaut needs a lot of math and physics, you cut that out. So all of that. But finally, when you realize, you come into an age where you think, what is it that really gives me a lot of joy? Now, I've been this for almost 10 years. And yes, this is also a profession which can frustrate a lot of people, which can, be a lot of points of instigation for criticism also. But finally, at the end of the day, for example, a simple thing I look at the end of the day is this one Twitter handle called MyBMC. And this is something I was pushing for, and then finally got that handle done. It is simple. Any person in Mumbai having a problem with a civic issue, be it an open pothole, manhole, broken footpath, can tweet to the BMC saying, my footpath is bad. Why is it bad? Please repair. And within 3 hours, action is taken and a photograph is posted, and the person is at least satisfied, if not happy. So, at the end of the day, when you look at this whole action, which has made someone happy, given a smile to someone, helped someone, move in an ambulance from one point to another, saved someone's life, I think this is the satisfaction that you really want to derive from what you want to do. And that is what,
I can tell you one more thing. Maybe when you're younger, to look slightly more older, you may have to have the beard. But with your maturity that we can hear you now, I think you can shave it off and take it on with your deeds.
If I shave this off, I look like a 15-year-old. So,
yeah. The second question is, if you're not in politics, it's a difficult question. What would be the other alternate, profession that you would be in?
I would be probably in any other profession trying to get back into politics.
Oh, that's right. You're young but very mature. How do you define happiness for yourself?
Satisfaction. That is what is happiness, probably, because when you have that joy of something happening or something good that is done, you derive satisfaction out of it. That is happiness. So it is both ways, actually. So satisfaction, you are not supposed to be satisfied with everything you do, because otherwise there is no next level to it. But with satisfaction, there is happiness. With happiness, there is not equal amount of satisfaction. You can be happy at an action, but not be satisfied with it.
Wow. I can tell you one thing, we had great respect for the family when they were inside the bungalow. I can tell you it was a great courageous move by dad and you yourself to come out and take executive positions. And I can only tell you that a lot of my friends, a lot of my business friends, after seeing Uddhavji, our respect has only gone up in the way he's handling the government. I mean, thanks for doing that so well. My next question is, what is your favorite hobby? I'll come to another question related to this. What's your favorite hobby if you can pursue a hobby in this tough time?
It was earlier poems. Then I realized that they can get embarrassingly, very sappy. Books, reading, traveling, playing cricket earlier. Then there's a lot of cheating that happens in that when we play cricket. So you lose your voice at the end of the day after all the screaming and shouting. But yeah, traveling, reading, that's quite something that I've stuck on to.
I can tell you, I played a match against you at the MCA and I never got batting because you batted up to 52 not out. At that match, remember if you played at the MCA ground?
Yeah. BKC MCA.
Yeah, BKC. One last thing is, it's a short professional life that you'll learn, but what would be your greatest achievement till date?
I think I would not want to count anything as an achievement till now, because it's always a continuous process. So I think let's keep it going.
Thank you so much. That's all from my side in terms of rapid fire.
Thank you, Preetham. Thank you, Aditya. It was great. We have once again, I would like to thank Sachin Bauji, who's here and listening to us and giving us, inspiring us, also being over here. Sachinji, thank you. Thanks a lot for being here. If you would like to add a few things, it would be great, sir. So you're on mute.
I've been being in the industries, so I've closely seen the issues, and I'm very proud that Aditya is going to take over with all the issues which is presently, it was past also and for the future also. Thanks a lot for taking this initiative, and I especially thanks Aditya to be a part of it. And I think now we need to conclude.
Yes, thank you, Aditya. So we have Shantilalji Kataria, who is our Vice President CREDAI, would like to give a vote of thanks, sir.
Aditya ji, Jai Maharashtra.
Jai Maharashtra.
जसं आदरणीय बाळासाहेब ठाकरेजींना संपूर्ण महाराष्ट्र जानता राजा म्हणायचा, तसे आपणाशी 3 वेळा केलेला संवाद व इतर माध्यमात पाहता आणि आजचंही बोलणं पाहता आपली वाटचाल जाणता मंत्री, जाणता युवराज होताना दिसत आहे आणि त्याचा आम्हाला अभिमान वाटतोय. सर, आज आपण आमच्या युवकांना, आम्हा सर्वांना संवाद साधण्यासाठी आलात, मार्गदर्शन केलं, त्याबद्दल आपले विशेष आभार. आदित्यजी, आपले ग्रास्पिंग आणि आपलं व्हिजन रिमार्केबल, सुपर्ब आहे. सॅल्यूट टू यू. मित्रांनो, आदित्य म्हणजे सूर्य आणि यंग लीडरशिप, आपली राजकीय कारकीर्द ही आदित्यजी सूर्यासारखी तळपणारी तेजोमय होवो या शुभेच्छेसह आपले शतशः आभार. धन्यवाद.
Thanks a lot, Aditya.
Thank
We
you, sir.
promise
so much.
as a youth wing that we will be, going more fitter, better, make Mumbai and Maharashtra much better. And we would want to also start cycling and going to our workplaces. If you can initiate something like this, and we would all love to do that.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot for spending so much time with us. Thank you very much.
हारेगा
Thank you,
कोरोना,
Aditya ji.
जीतेगा
Thank you.
इंडिया.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you, sir.